Get ready. Get set. It's time for the Basement View.
Hey Lisa, what's happening? How you doing? Man, got a wonderful day going. Wonderful day. Absolute wonderful day. It's Friday. And I am so happy about that. It's Friday. Lisa, I am so glad to get out of this week because it's just another week of listening to the craziness. Man, at least on the weekend, there's a bit of a break from all the craziness. Hey, this is the Basement View. Welcome. It's me, Jeff. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that thumbs up. And let's have a chat. Hey, Carmen. How am I? I'm happy it's the weekend. I am absolutely glad it is the weekend. I was just saying that. Supposed to be in the 60s this weekend. I'm going to try and get out in the yard and do some cleanup. Try to clean up the yard, maybe get some weed and feed down, get some stuff done. I'm going to try and what they call it, decompress, so to speak. That's what I'm going to try to do this weekend. How are you doing with all this craziness? It's raining and kind of cold. Well, guess it's got to rain even in paradise sometimes, huh? This is the first few days we haven't had rain. We've been catching a storm. Somebody just informed me just the other little while ago that we've been having a storm almost every Wednesday, at least. So, and I'm glad that you're doing just fine. I was kind of hoping I was going to get out today and wander Gary. Chicago PD has been filming in Gary. So I was going to try and get over there and watch some, but I didn't get to get over there. So was kind of busy today. Hey, James, what's happening? I would have liked to have seen that. I understand, I might have been able to get me a part on the show or something, Might have been able to at least do a video or something, but I didn't get over there, unfortunately. So, you like that show, huh? Yeah, it's a pretty good show. So, maybe if they're not done, I might get over there tomorrow or something. I don't know if they're done or not, but it'd be nice to go and check out. There has been so much craziness today. I'm pretty sure most of you have heard about the helicopter that fell and the people that were killed in that. We talked about that, I think, a little bit. Another airplane came down today, small airplane. Turns out the pilot of the helicopter has only been employed with that company for a month. That was kind of sad. So he just moved there from Chicago. He was flying with a company in Chicago, and I guess that was a move up for him. And I guess, that would have been cool, just getting paid to fly around New York, take tourists around New York. And man, that terrible thing happened. Now, the one thing that caught my attention was, again, we got a CEO on board. Now, heaven forbid I be the conspiracy theorist, but I've never heard of a helicopter just falling apart in the middle of a flight. Maybe some of you have, but I've never heard of a helicopter just falling apart. You know, I'm dying to hear the report from the NTSB. I mean, to have the rotors come off, the tail come off, the rotors, the transmission come out. That's weird as hell. Excuse me. That's weird as hell. So, hey, if any of you have heard about that, heard of something like that before, hey, chime in. A plane crashed down there and killed 3 people. Yeah, that's the one I was talking about. Right under the viaduct on the train tracks. Lot of aviation issues. Lots of aviation issues. And it was a Cessna. It was a Cessna? Huh. I've flown those. That's interesting. I'm sorry to hear that. I've actually flown Cessna 172s. So, interesting. I think there is just chaos. There has been less than 100 days of pure chaos. China dug their heels in. The courts are giving this guy permission to kick people out of the country. Sided with Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio kicking people out of the country now. Isn't that special? I didn't know the Secretary of State could kick people out of the country. Huh. Who knew? Lots of chaos. Now, the Supreme Court ruled that they need to facilitate getting that young man back that they sent to prison in El Salvador mistakenly. But the word facilitate simply means to give it a try. Now, the administration has been saying they can't get him back. And the Supreme Court has just said, well, give it a try. I wonder how hard they're going to try. A lot of craziness. Lots of craziness. China has decided, hey, Charles, China has decided that they are not going to give in. They have decided to dig their heels in. Let's check out a small report about China.
Have you seen this tweet from the Chinese Foreign Ministry? That's the official account of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of China, sharing a quote from the former Chinese dictator Mao Zedong during the Korean War, the last time the U.S. and China were shooting at each other. And the message was, China will not yield to the U.S. That's an important signal as to how China sees the current trade war with the U.S., and that is the Chinese leaders do not want to be bullied by the U.S. president, and crucially, they don't want the Chinese people to see them being bullied by the U.S. president. That said, I'm told that Chinese leaders are open to negotiations with the U.S., but at this point, they don't see the channels open for those negotiations, and it's their perception the U.S. is not making an effort to open those channels. This is one more crucial point, that if and when negotiations happen, Xi Jinping is not going to meet Donald Trump, I'm told, at the very beginning of those negotiations. They want the agreements worked out first. They do not want a Zelensky in the Oval Office moment,
disrespectful to the country,
where the Chinese leader would be surprised or embarrassed. And that's key as we wait for any movement here in this trade war between the world's two economic superpowers.
Now, apparently, Xi Jinping has sense enough not to come here and get suckered into an Oval Office meeting. He must have been paying attention. But I wonder how long it's going to be since China's 125% tariffs kick in tomorrow. Our 145% tariffs on them have kicked in already. Now imagine if you was going to buy a TV and that TV costs $100. With a 145% tariff, that TV will now be, what, $245? Is that math correct? Can you imagine everything you go to buy now being 145% more? I can't wait. I cannot wait. I cannot wait for all of this stuff, the prices on this stuff, to skyrocket. I sincerely hope that they carry this out for at least 2-3 months, 2-3-4 months, because it take a little while to get into the pipeline. Oh, yeah. You know what? You're right. I didn't add any taxes. You're right. Wow. Okay. More than that. And you know what? And anything that is sold here that China sells, if China sells it and it's something that happens to be made here, it's going to cost more too. You saw in the news that he's going to put tariffs on pharmaceuticals too. Well, he's such a smart whippersnapper. That doesn't surprise me. I think I heard that as well. And you know who that's going to hit? All us old folks. All us old folks. So maybe some of his older supporters, hear that. But the problem is, see, Fox News is not telling them that. Fox News does not report any of this to them. Fox News and Newsmax and Moody Radio and the Christian Broadcasting Network and so forth and so forth and so forth, they only tell them, don't worry, everything's going to be all right. Donald Trump is fighting for you. And somehow, they've even convinced them that it's okay, that it's going to be hard for a little while. Now, wait a minute. It was not hard under Joe Biden. What about the people that don't have Medicaid anymore? You know what? I didn't think of that. You're absolutely right. What about the people that don't have Medicaid anymore? Because they screwing up the Medicaid payments. The states. You know, a funny thing about Republican states? Republican states, they had a problem with Medicaid. And I guess it's because they hate the poor people. I remember when Obamacare first kicked in, there was a provision in Obamacare that the states apply for Medicare payments, and through Obamacare, Obamacare would start off paying like 85% of Medicaid payments to the states, and then it would go up gradually, and I think max out at 100%, 90 or 100%. And do you know the Republican states refused to sign up for it? Didn't want any part of it. And I think they managed to get that provision stripped out. So I think Republican states, and I know here in Indiana, I know people who've had a hard time getting Medicaid. I think they just don't like poor people, and are so good at getting poor people to vote for them. I just don't get it. I tell you what, the messaging, and I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say it right here, right now. You know what? The Democrats use the best words. They are some of the most intellectual people I've ever seen. They don't seem to understand when they're making their speech, half the people listening don't get half of the speech. They are really bad at using plain English. And I tell you what, Trump and the Republicans, they use plain English. And guess what? They throw a motherfucker in there every now and then too. Okay? You've seen it. The message. You know, you got to have a good message. So, I guess I really do hope they keep this going for a couple of months. I really do hope. But Trump has been backing down. You notice he did it with Canada and Mexico. He backed down. Oh, we're going to pause it for a minute. Then he did this and backed down. You know, we got so many people on the phone wanting to make deals. That was a lie. We know what happened. And if you don't know, if I did not tell you the last time I was on here, what happened was, if you watch the bond market, the 10-year yield on a bond is well above 4%. When that market went down, the 10-year went down in the high threes, 3.9, 3.8. Okay, let's explain the bonds. The bonds are government debt. Okay, when the Treasury issues bonds, they are selling debt. You buy a bond, the bond issuer has to pay you interest on the bond. Okay, so when you see the yields, the interest, when you see that go down, that means a lot of people are buying bonds. Okay, it works in reverse. When people start buying a lot, the yield goes down because people are parking their money. When you see that yield start creeping up, that means people are selling their bonds. Well, lo and behold, Japan and China own most of the debt of the United States. They the one that buy the most United States bonds, and therefore we pay them the most interest. Well, that bond rate started shooting up all of a sudden. Guess what? Japan and China were dumping their bonds. They were selling their debt. That's what spooked them folks in the White House. Okay? That's what spooked them. Because that will also make the dollar worthless. Okay? If they start doing that on a large scale, that will bring the dollar down. All right? Okay. Enough of that. Anyway. So, we in this trade war. We got judges that's granting all kind of crazy stuff. That's why I'm so happy to get to the weekend. Let's just take a break. Shit. Let's take a break. Now, I do have to admit, like I said, I would love for this to last for a while because I want the pain to be felt. I want the pain to be felt. And I can eat real cheap, as you all know. So I just wanted to set in real good. Just set in real good. Check this out. The Montana farmers are actually starting to feel it. Check this out.
Podcast at 10 o'clock, the Montana Farmers Union reports the Trump administration's widespread tariffs are already causing a significant drop in the price of several crops. They say it's costing the Treasure State billions of dollars. NBC Montana's Michael Saniscoy breaks down the impacts on Montana farmers.
According to the Government of Canada, in 2023, Montana exports $321 million of agricultural trade to Canada, like live bovine animals, dry legumes, barley, and more. The Treasure State imports $411 million from Canada, like receiving canola oil, mustard seeds, wheat, and more. Canada remains Montana's largest trade partner, followed by Mexico, Peru, Colombia, and Japan. But the Trump administration implemented a 25% tariff on imports from Canada and Mexico earlier this year, leaving some Montana organizations to believe this will affect the state's economy.
Many of our farmers, their closest supplier or their closest buyer is from Canada. And they've been receiving letters telling them that they don't know if they're going to be able to honor their contracts this year because of the tariffs. And we've had members who have already had tariffs added to agricultural goods that they need out of Canada.
Schweitzer says the Montana Farmers Union supports tariffs that are done strategically and targeted. That isn't the case with recent implementations. However, a bipartisan bill could help manage more tariffs from being added. The Trade Review Act of 2025 would require the president to notify Congress within 48 hours of imposing or increasing a duty on imported goods, including an explanation and assessment of its impact on U.S. businesses and consumers. Not only is the Montana Farmers Union supporting the bipartisan bill, but they're also supporting a motion for an injunction filed last week. Schweitzer says he believes Congress should oversee tariff implementation and not give the executive branch the authority to do their job.
We're looking for a judicial review of that, and hopefully the courts will decide with us.
In Bozeman, Michael Santaskoy, NBC Montana.
Now, who out there thinks that if a bill comes across his desk that takes away any of his power, he's going to sign it? Anybody? Anybody think he's going to sign a bill that's going to take any of his power away? And do anybody think that any kind of, judicial review is going to mean anything to him? I don't think so. I don't think so. Okay. This has got to be no, absolutely, Carmen. There's no way. It won't matter to this dude. This dude don't care. Right now, I bet you they're laughing because of that ruling from the Supreme Court. They used the language, the Trump administration must facilitate the return of this person you mistakenly sent over there. Facilitate. Facilitate. That's, give it a shot. See if you can, see what you come up with. That court has destroyed America. The Supreme Court, the damage that court has done, and this guy in the White House, it will, if this country can come back from it, if this country can ever come back from this, it will be a miracle. It will be an actual miracle. The damage that's just been done just thus far, is so incredible. America's reputation. Can you imagine? Do we even have a reputation now? That's, that could be considered worth anything. Do we even have a reputation now? I say probably not. I say there's no way we got any reputation at all. Oh, well, we have a poor reputation. We have a bad reputation. Okay. So, yeah, he's run it into the ground. I mean, see, let's make an assumption that in 4 years, a Democrat wins. If a Democrat won in 4 years, the rest of the world still won't trust us. Because the rest of the world will still be saying, well, they got a Democrat this time, but next time they may go back to a crazy fool. You can't trust nothing they gonna do. And James, yeah, probably a lot more damage to come. A lot more damage to come. More damage every day. Matter of fact, and when I said if we elect a Democrat 4 years from now, or if we have a congressional turnover 2 years from now, or a year and a half from now, say the Republicans have gone off the deep end. Yeah, they done checked out. Right now, we paying Republicans in Congress to do nothing. They are literally doing nothing and getting paid. Talk about fraud, waste, and abuse. They are sitting there every day doing nothing. Okay? They holding hearings on Biden laptop. Holding hearings on the Biden laptop. They getting paid money for nothing. Hey, Dire Straits, money for nothing. That is crazy. And let's hear James Carville's take on whether or not we should be worried about having an election at all. Because there's a camp out there that is, worried that they'll try and pull something to keep from having the election. Let's check it out.
Two, I'm going to combine two. Gina in Casper, Wyoming, asks, is Trump looking to spark enough protests to justify declaring martial law in 2026, thus suspending the election? And Danielle in Montreal, Canada asks, with everything going on lately, what makes you think there will be midterm elections for sure? If there are, won't they be rigged? These are serious questions. Serious people are asking, James.
If they are, I take them serious. They deserve a serious answer. And a serious answer is not necessarily an encouraging answer. I've said it before, say it again. Trump does not like the United States. He doesn't like our laws. He doesn't like our Constitution. He doesn't like our people. He calls them fat. He calls them poorly educated, slobs, stupid. And he is in the midst of what I believe, I've said, and continue to believe even strongly every day, we're in the midst of a collapse. And if you look at the markets, if you look at all across the board, the political collapse, the spotting, look what happened in Wisconsin, look what's going on with all of the Musk and the craziness. And what I think, if he sees himself going down, he's going to try to take the whole country with him.
Absolutely.
He does not understand. He is not loyal to the United States of America. He does not like this country. He criticizes it all the time. He has affection for dictators. He has affection for authoritarianism. And you're so correct to be concerned about this. And it's getting worse by the day. It is not going to stop getting worse. And we got to be a high alert. He's going to try anything he can. And to help himself, of course, but I believe the man genuinely, fundamentally wants to hurt the country.
I believe that. I believe this guy literally really wants to destroy the country. As for the protests, I'm sure there are going to be more protests, Carmen. Trust me on this one. There are going to be a ton of protests because might be real soon because, like I said earlier, a judge just gave Marco Rubio permission to kick the young man out that they're holding down in New Orleans because he was an activist in college. Now, he's here on a student visa, and because he promoted some marches against what Israel was doing, they called him a supporter of Hamas. They just labeled him a supporter of Hamas, and they're deporting him. Now, anytime they can just label you something, because this man has no ties to Hamas that I've heard about. He was just an activist in college. I think this is meant to scare people at the universities. Scare people and say, you cannot say anything we don't like. If you say something we don't like, we're going to come down on you. I believe that is the idea here. So there's going to be a lot more marches. But I believe what James Carville said. I believe this guy is literally mad at America. I think he does not like this country at all. And somehow, those that support him don't see it. And, I have to think back. There's the old adage that, two people can look at the same thing and see something completely different. Like the glass of water. One person can look at it and see it half empty. The other person can look at it and see it half full. That is how I have to continually look at this situation with his supporters. They see something completely different than I do. And I already know that they hear something different because, half the time, you ever notice at the rallies, they're not listening to him. They're enjoying each other's company. They just having a great time wearing their red hats together with their funny clothes on. They just enjoying being a part of something. They're not even listening to half the stuff he's saying up there when he's talking, because if you listening to it and you can understand it, you crazy as hell, because most of the time it's so incoherent that you can't follow it anyway. So I'm sure there are going to be a lot more protests. And I'll be rooting for them as they hit the streets. I'll be rooting for them. Because trust me, when I tell you, if I'm out there, I'll be a member of the press. I'll be standing on the other side of that yellow tape. Man. So, It is crazy. It is crazy. I'm so happy it's Friday. Did I mention I'm happy it's Friday? I am glad it is Friday. Might even fire up the grill tomorrow. While I'm out there working, I'm gonna go out there, sweep up, rake some, and try and decompress. Cause this stuff, it is too much. All of this is too much. I haven't heard any Democrats mentioning that the president is not out surveying the disaster areas. Do y'all remember how bad they beat Biden up just because Biden was waiting for a period because of some other commitments to go survey the disaster areas? I ain't heard nothing about this dude not being where he should be. He went golfing today. He left today to go golfing. The dude left today to go golfing. And you don't hear a peep. Not a peep. Crickets. Chirp, 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 chirp. Amazing. We got executive orders commanding the Justice Department to start investigations on people for nothing. Just investigate. Today, I don't know if you all know who Alina Habba is. She was one of his personal attorneys. You remember her. She was the young lady that was sitting out there sitting next to him court side, when he was in court everywhere. She was the one getting her hat handed to her by the government at every case. Well, she now has an office and has decided she is starting an investigation of the ex-governor of New Jersey, I believe it is, New Jersey or Massachusetts, might be Massachusetts, and the attorney general of that state also, simply because they filed these immigration cases against Trump. So now she's planning on going after them. I don't hear anybody saying anything about this. I do hear him mention it on MSNBC and CNN. I've heard them mention it. I have not heard any prominent Democrats standing up and screaming to the top of their lungs like they would have been doing on the other side. And even if you are not in the majority, as the minority, you can disrupt some proceedings. That's what they used to do. But it's been crickets. Really crickets. And, maybe it's me. And maybe it's the fact that the system is overwhelmed. You know? What you think? That could be it, huh? The system could just be overwhelmed with bullshit. He has literally overwhelmed the system with bullshit. Could that be it? I think that might be it. What you think? I know one thing. It is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Anybody got any plans for the weekend? Anybody got any great plans for the weekend? Maybe I could tag along with you if you got some good plans. Well, yeah. Hey, Carmen, I think that's what's going on. I think it got the system so packed up with garbage that it's overwhelming everybody. Can't even react to all of it. Say, have a great day. Yeah. Hey, man, you know, got to get out there sooner or later. Got to get out there. Because, I'm trying to wait for this warm weather, and it's just not showing up. This warm weather will not show up for me. Because somebody that's got some pull, one of y'all out there that's got some pull, could you get us some warm weather together? String us a few days together. Just a few of them. I appreciate that. Man. What a brother got to do to get a 65 or 70 degree day? So anyway, hopefully this weekend there won't be any disasters. Let's try and get through a weekend with no disasters. And I know what happened today. I guess that qualifies as happened on the weekend. Well, let's hope nothing else happens. Okay? Let's put our hands together, throw up a prayer, and say, Lord, let's have us a nice, safe weekend where no disasters. Kiss the ring. Oh, man, come on, man. Don't make me do that, man. Oh, goddamn. Don't make me kiss the ring, man. You mean to tell me I gotta go to the Oval Office, man? I gotta fly out to the Oval Office and kiss the ring to get me some warm weather? Oh, man, that's crazy. That's crazy. Man, I tell you what. Guess it's just gonna be cold. Okay, I ain't got it in me, man. I ain't got it in me. And I guess that's the problem, huh? Wow. Well, hey, man, anyway, even if I wanted to do that, man, it's just too many people in front of me, man. It's too many people lined up, the line is all the way back here to Indiana, okay? Shoot. Because, I mean, this situation is crazy. But the thing that got me is Marco Rubio. Hey, James, you once mentioned, when did Marco Rubio get tough? That's the biggest surprise out of all of this. Marco Rubio is deporting people out of the country. A Cuban immigrant is deporting people out of the United States. Now, what scene out of Spider-Man is that out of? A Cuban immigrant is deporting people out of the United States. That's some bizarro world shit. By the way, I guess nobody got any good plans this weekend. I ain't seen nobody say, hey, we getting ready to go on a brand new shuttle mission or something. You know, I guess I'm just gonna be out there. Me and Charles gonna be out there doing the yard work. You say, Jan, yeah, when did he become a tough guy? Right. Absolutely. When did Marco Rubio become a tough guy? That's incredible to me. And sad at the same time. You know, while I never really agreed with Marco Rubio, he always, you know, he was always just one of the guys that follow whatever said, you know, whatever the other guy says, that's what I say. That's what I always got from Marco Rubio anyway. So he was never any favorite of mine. But I didn't really see him. I didn't see him as a bootlicker. Now, he is just a complete bootlicker. And it's sad. It's sad. I would really love to talk to some family members of some of these people to see what they think. Anybody? Hey, did anybody also hear this? Get this. This just popped into my head. Hey, newsflash. Breaking news. Just popped into my head. Report I heard just before coming on. And I almost forgot to tell you guys. I don't know if any of you checked this out. But Tesla just announced a new Cybertruck. So you go get some Vienna sausages and Spam this weekend. Hey man, I'm already ahead of you on that one. But Tesla announced a new Cybertruck. And this Cybertruck has less features than the other Cybertruck and only has rear-wheel drive and is only $10,000 less than the previous Cybertruck. Go figure that one. No spam, no Sapama. No Sapama. No spam. hey, you know what? Just for that, I think I'm gonna be enjoying some spam on my next episode. I'm gonna be sitting here enjoying some spam. You know, because hey, that's a delicacy. Oh, I thought that was like pig Latin. My bad. I thought that was an actual pig Latin word. My bad. You know, we'll have some spam hors d'oeuvres. Yeah, that's it. Some spam finger foods. You know. Yeah, poor man's Cybertruck, James. But it's only $10,000 less than the other version, so it came out at $70,000. So they just announced a chopped down version for $70,000. Now, I don't know where Elon has been. I don't know where Elon has been. But I don't think there's very many people with an appetite for a Cybertruck right about now. I don't know. I ain't got my finger on the pulse of America or any other country. But I got a feeling that this new Cybertruck ain't gonna sell that great. Especially since he had to recall all of the other ones because they were falling apart on the highway. Good luck with that one, Elon. So, maybe that's what I do. Maybe I go down to maybe I'll go down to the local Tesla dealer, have me a sandwich, and see if I see any Cybertrucks coming out. You know? Let's see if any Cybertrucks come out. Any of the new ones. I gotta check this out. Cause I find that hard to believe. Now I just heard that just before I came on. So I gotta check into this. Now apparently the regular Cybertruck has two motors, one front, one the rear, and they drive all-wheel drive. So that's the way I understand them to be. And this truck only has one motor that drives the rear wheels. But it's still $70,000. I got to check this out to see if I was seeing this right. You know, I'll have more on that later. So, but I think that would be amazing to introduce a new Cybertruck, and the one you already got out, it's not doing that great. Do any of you think that's a good idea? I mean, I don't know. I'm not a predictor of trends, but with all of his mishaps lately, and we haven't seen him lately, he might have gotten banned from the White House or something. But I don't think this is the environment to bring out a new Cybertruck. And James, maybe it's, the poor man's Cybertruck. But it's still $70,000. And hey, wait a minute. I think a lot of them come out of China, huh? So if it's coming out of China, ain't the Cybertruck built in China? Maybe some are built here and some are built in China. But if it's coming out of China, let's see, at 70,000, as long as you don't go back. No, sir. But if they coming out of China at 70,000 a pop, at 145% duty on it, I don't think the poor man Cybertruck is that much of a poor man Cybertruck, huh? Anyway, did I mention that I'm glad it's Friday? You gotta go. Hey, Carmen, I think we all gotta go. Have a good weekend. And yes, I will see you Monday. Matter of fact, everybody, let's all just go have us a good weekend. I am so happy. It is the weekend. So everybody stay safe. Try and stay warm. Relax. Try and decompress. And let's get through this one. All right? Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll see you Monday. Take it easy.